students, welcome to our APS classes, and as all we know that this is our foundation course especially for the students from 8th to 12th. And dear students, in our today's video we will discuss about the class 8th regarding the subject science, and the name of the chapter is coal and petroleum, and this is chapter number 5 from the science subject. And here we will discuss important expected questions related with the chapter, that is the coal and the petroleum, for the session that is 2022. And remember one thing, dear students, this syllabus is common for all the boards, either state board or the CBSE board. तो आज का जो चैप्टर है बेटे हमारा क्लास 8th का, वो है कोल एंड पेट्रोलियम. दिस चैप्टर इज रिलेटेड विद कोल एंड पेट्रोलियम फॉर द सेशन that is 2022 class 8th, and important expected questions related with this chapter that is to be discussed in our today's video. So let us start with our chapter number 5, that is related with your coal and petroleum, and first question is related with your MCQ questions or objective questions, and your first question is multiple choice question. Multiple choice question, and your first question is non-decaying natural resources. जो non-decaying natural resource है वो कौन सा है? Options: air, B petroleum, C coal, and D forest. So out of these you will justify what is the non-decaying natural resource. इनमें से आपको ये बताना है कि इनमें से non-decaying natural resource है वो कौन सा है. So here बेटा the non-decaying natural resource जो आपके पेट्रोलियम है, कोल है, फॉरेस्ट है, all these are the natural resources such as petroleum, coal as well as forest. Whereas the non-decaying natural resource is air. Air is the non-decaying natural resource. Non-decaying natural resource. So this is the right answer for the question number 1. So here air is the non-decaying natural resource. Now shift to the question number 2, and your question number 2 is dash is a fossil fuel. Dash is a fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, these are the remains of the dead and decaying organic matter. So dash is a fossil fuel. Options are air, sunlight, वाटर, कोल. इनमें से आपको ये बताना है बेटे एयर, सनलाइट, वाटर या कोल, इनमें से कौन है जो कि हमारा फॉसिल फ्यूल है. तो बेटे एयर इज नॉट अ फॉसिल फ्यूल, सनलाइट अगेन इज नॉट अ फॉसिल फ्यूल, वाटर इज नॉट अ फॉसिल फ्यूल, बट हियर कोल इज द फॉसिल फ्यूल. कोल इज अ फॉसिल फ्यूल. जो आपकी फॉसिल फ्यूल है बेटे दैट इज कोल. नाउ शिफ्ट टू द क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, and your question number 3 is which one of the following is exhaustible natural resource. इनमें से कौन है जो कि exhaustible natural resource है, बार बार यूज होने वाला exhaustible जो natural resource है वो कौन सा है? Air, B natural gas, C sunlight, and D none of these. So out of these which is a exhaustible natural resource? So here beta air, sunlight, all these are not the exhaustible natural resources, but here natural gas is a natural source. So here this is the right answer for the question number 3, that is natural gas is a exhaustible natural resource. Now shift to the question number 4, and your question number 4 is dash is used as a domestic fuel in homes. Domestic जो हम घरों में आम तौर पर जिस फ्यूल का यूज करते हैं वो कौन सी फ्यूल है? ऑप्शंस है डीजल, either is a domestic fuel that is used in homes, petrol, kerosene oil, bitumen. So out of these fuels, the domestic fuel that is used in the homes is kerosene oil. Kerosene is the domestic fuel. Kerosene oil It is the domestic fuel that is used in the homes, whereas diesel, petrol, bitumen, all these are not the domestic fuels that are used in the homes. Now shift to the question number 5, and your question number 5 is, which of the following component of petroleum is used for construction? Which of the following component, especially the component of the petroleum, so which of the following component of the petroleum is used in the road construction? रोड construction के लिए especially हम जिस component of petroleum का use करते हैं, so that component is either diesel, B petrol, C lubricant oil and D is bitumen. तो बेटे यहाँ पर आपसे ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है कि कौन सा ऐसा हमारा कंपोनेंट है पेट्रोलियम का, that component of petroleum is used in the construction of the roads, either diesel, petrol, lubricant oil and the bitumen. So the main component of the petroleum that is used in the construction of the roads is bitumen, not petrol, not diesel and even not lubricant oil. These are not the components of the petroleum that is to be used in the construction of roads, but bitumen is the component of petroleum that is used in case of the road construction. So here this is the right answer. Now shift to the next question, that is your question number 6, which is known as black gold. Options are petroleum, B diesel, C coal and D is petrol. So out of these options, which is known as the black gold? Either petrol, diesel, coal and petroleum. So here one of the following is the right answer out of these, that is known as black gold. So here petroleum is the black gold, जिसको कि क्या कहा जाता है बेटे? ब्लैक गोल्ड कहा जाता है. So petroleum is known as the black gold. So this is the right answer for the question number 6, that is petroleum is known as the black gold. Now next question is, the process of formation of petroleum in nature is known as? The process by which the formation of petroleum takes place, that process is known as either carbonization, refining, fossil formation and D is none of the above. So you know about the process of the formation of petroleum in nature. That process is known as either carbonization, either refining, either fossil formation and D is none of them. So here beta, the process by which the formation of petroleum in nature, that process is known as refining, not carbonization, not fossil formation, but the process of formation of petroleum in nature is known as refining. That process is known as refining. So here refining is the right answer. Now shift to the question number 8, and your question number 8 is, the purest form of carbon is? Name the purest form of carbon. Purest form of carbon कौन सी है? So you mention the purest form of the carbon and your options are coal, B charcoal, C coke and D is all of these. So out of these options, which is known as the purest form of carbon? आपको purest form of carbon का नाम बताना है कि जो सबसे purest form है carbon की वो कौन सी है? कोल है, कोक है, चारकोल है या फिर आपका चारकोल भी, कोक भी और कोल भी. All these are the purest form of carbon. So you justify your answer. What is the purest form of carbon? And it is your question number 7. Not 7. Yes, it is your question number 8. So the beta, the purest form of carbon is coke. The purest form of carbon is coke. Coke is the purest form of carbon, not coal, not charcoal and even not all of these, but the purest form of carbon is known as coke. Now shift to the question number 9, and your question number 9 is, the least polluted fuel is? सबसे कम polluted fuel कौन सा है जिससे pollution बहुत कम होता है? So that least polluted fuel is either petrol, B coal, C kerosene oil and D CNG. तो बेटे जो पेट्रोल है ये भी बहुत पॉल्यूटेड फ्यूल है. कोल अगेन इज द मोस्ट पॉल्यूटेड फ्यूल. kerosene oil again is the most polluted fuel, but CNG is the least polluted fuel, and the full form of CNG is compressed natural gas. So the least polluted fuel is CNG, that is compressed natural gas, whereas petrol, coal, kerosene oil, all these are not the least polluted fuels, whereas only CNG is the least polluted fuel. So here beta we complete our part A, and your part A is based on MCQ questions or objective questions. Now shift to our part number B, and your part B is related with fill in the blanks. It is a part B, and this part B is related with the fill in the blanks as well as true or false. So in part B we will discuss the fill in the blanks as well as true or false. And your first fill in the blanks is fossil fuels are dash dash and dash. So कौन से बेटे fossil fuels है? Fossil fuels are dash dash and dash. So fossil fuels are बेटा कौन से fossil fuels are आपके? Coal, second one is petroleum and natural gas. So these are the fossil fuels. Number one is coal, second one is petroleum and third one is natural gas. So all these are the fossil fuels. Next is process of separation of different constituents from the petroleum is the process by which the different constituents are separated from the petroleum. So that type of process is known as refining. That process is known as refining. So by the process of refining, the various constituents are separated from the petroleum. So that process is known as refining. Your third fill in the blanks is least polluting fuel for vehicle is. इससे पहले भी हमने किया कि जो आपके सबसे ज्यादा least polluted fuel है, especially in the vehicles, and that fuel is known as CNG, and the full form of CNG is compressed natural gas. So full form of CNG, that is compressed natural gas. Now shift to our next question, and our next question is write true or false. आपके पास true or false है, उन true or false को आपने करना है. Your first statement is fossil fuels can be made in the laboratory. Fossil fuels can be made in the laboratory. So this is the wrong statement, because fossil fuels are not made in the laboratory. So this is a false statement. Now shift to the next statement or next part number 2. CNG is more polluting fuel than petrol. CNG is more polluting fuel than the petrol. So again this is the wrong statement, because CNG is less polluted fuel as compared to the petrol. So here this is false. Now shift to the third part. Coke is almost purest form of carbon. So here this is the right statement, because coke is the most purest form of the carbon. So this is true. This is true. Next, coal tar is a mixture of various substances. Again this is a true statement, because coal tar is the mixture of the various substances. So here this is again true, because coal tar is the mixture of the different substances. Last, kerosene is not a fossil fuel. Kerosene is not a fossil fuel. So this is the last statement. So this is true because kerosene is not a fossil fuel, because the fossil fuels are only coal, petroleum and natural gas. These are the three various forms of the fossil fuels. So here kerosene is not a fossil fuel. This is the true statement or the right statement. So here we complete our part B. Now shift to the part C, and your part C is related with, this is your part C. That means our today's video that is related with our chapter coal and petroleum, and here this chapter is divided into three parts: part A, part B and part C. Part A is related with our MCQ questions or objective questions. Part B is related with fill in the blanks as well as true or false. And our part C is related with very short answer type questions related with this chapter. So here we will start with our first question, and your first question is: name the petroleum product used for surfacing of roads. Name the petroleum product used in the surfacing of roads. So what is that product of the petroleum that is used in the surfacing of the roads? So that product is bitumen. Bitumen is used for surface refining. So बेटा आप इसको नोट कर सकते हैं. Bitumen is used for surface refining. Our next question is: write the full form of CNG. So here beta the full form of CNG is compressed natural gas. So this is the full form of CNG, that is compressed natural gas. Now हम शिफ्ट करते हैं क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 पर. तो बेटा इसको नोट कर लें आप. फुल फॉर्म ऑफ CNG. नेक्स्ट है हमारा डिफाइन द टर्म फॉसिल फ्यूल्स. So fossil fuels क्या है बेटे? These are the fuels which are formed. Fossil fuels. Next question आपका क्या है? Fossil fuels. So these are the fuels which are formed in nature from the dead and decaying organic matter over millions of years ago. तो यहाँ पर हम define करेंगे बेटे fossil fuels को कि क्या है fossil fuels. So these are the fuels which are formed in nature from the dead remains of organisms. So here beta fossil fuels. These are the fuels which are formed from the dead and decaying organisms over millions of years ago. So these are the fossil fuels. So these are formed from nature. These are formed from nature by dead and decaying organisms over millions of years. So these are formed from nature. These are formed from nature by the dead and decaying organisms over millions of years ago. So in term the fossil fuels, these are the fuels. These are the fuels which are formed. These are fuels. These are the fuels which are formed from nature by the dead and decaying organisms over millions of years ago. So this is the definition of the term fossil fuels. So these, in short, दोबारा से मैं repeat कर रही हूँ कि these are the fuels which are formed from the nature by the dead and decaying organisms over millions of years ago. So these are known as fossil fuels. Note कर सकते हैं बेटे आप इसको. And the various types of the fossil fuels are कौन सी थी बेटे? coal, petroleum एंड नेचुरल गैस। तो आप नोट कर सकते हैं बच्चे इसको कि जो हमारे पास वेरियस फॉसिल फ्यूल्स हैं, दीज आर कोल, पेट्रोलियम एंड नेचुरल गैस। नाउ शिफ्ट टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, एंड योर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज नेम द प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ द पेट्रोलियम। तो कौन कौन से बेटे? फर्टिलाइजर, इंसेक्टिसाइड एंड आर्टिफिशियल। तो द थ्री प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ द पेट्रोलियम आर फर्टिलाइजर, इंसेक्टिसाइड एंड आर्टिफिशियल रबर। So beta, the three products of the petroleum are, number one is fertilizer, second one is insecticide, and the third one is artificial rubber. So these are the three products of the petroleum. तो आप नेम कर सकते हैं कि हमारे तीन प्रोडक्ट्स जो है पेट्रोलियम के कौन कौन से? नंबर वन इज फर्टिलाइजर, सेकेंड वन इज इंसेक्टिसाइड एंड द थर्ड वन इज आर्टिफिशियल रबर. Now shift to the question number 5, and your question number 5 is coal, petroleum, natural gas. Coal, petroleum and natural gas are the examples of which type of fossil fuels? Sorry, coal, petroleum, natural gas are examples of which type of fuel? So coal, petroleum and natural gas, these are the examples of fossil fuels. These are the example of fossil fuels. So coal, petroleum and natural gas, all these are the types of the fossil fuels. Now shift to the question number 6, and your question number 6 is give one example of inexhaustible natural resource. Give one example of inexhaustible natural resource. So the main important example of the inexhaustible natural resource is air. Air is inexhaustible. Inexhaustible natural resource. So the most common example of the inexhaustible natural resource is air. Air is the only example of inexhaustible natural resource. Next is your question number 7, and your question number 7 is which product of petroleum is used for dry cleaning? Which product of petroleum is used for dry cleaning? आपको ऐसे प्रोडक्ट का नाम बताना है पेट्रोलियम के, that product is used for the dry cleaning. That means you will mention the product of the petroleum that is used for the dry cleaning. So here petrol. Petrol is the product of petroleum that is used in dry cleaning. It is used in dry cleaning. नोट कर सकते हैं बेटे आप. So the main product of petroleum that is used for dry cleaning is petrol. Now shift to the question number 8. What is the main component of coal? What is the main component of coal? So coke. Coke is the main component of coal. नोट कर सकते हैं बेटे आप इसको. व्हाट इज द मेन कंपोनेंट ऑफ कोल? सॉरी, नॉट कोक बट कार्बन. कार्बन इज द मेन कंपोनेंट ऑफ कोल. तो यहां पर आपको ध्यान देने की बात यह है बेटे कि द मेन कंपोनेंट ऑफ कोल इज कार्बन. सो कार्बन इज द मेन कंपोनेंट ऑफ कोल. तो नोट कर सकते हैं बेटे आप इसको. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन आपका क्वेश्चन नंबर 9. What happens when coal is heated over burnt in air? What happens when coal is heated over burnt in air? क्या होगा जब हम कोल को बर्न करेंगे, जलाएंगे, ठीक है, किसके ऊपर, और हीट करेंगे हम कोल को, या फिर उसको हम क्या करेंगे, बर्न करेंगे एयर में. सो व्हाट इज द रिजल्ट? अगर हम कोल को हीट करते हैं या फिर उसको हम एयर में उसको हम जलाते हैं, एट दैट टाइम कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड गैस इज रिलीज्ड. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड gas is released. So beta, if when coal is heated or burnt in air, at that time carbon dioxide gas is released. Next is your question number 10, and your question number 10 is dash is solid porous black substance. Question number 10 is डैश इज अ सॉलिड पोरस ब्लैक सब्सटेंस. आपको ये बताना है कि कौन है जो सॉलिड पोरस ब्लैक सब्सटेंस है. डैश इज अ सॉलिड पोरस ब्लैक सब्सटेंस. सो बेटा कोल इज अ सॉलिड पोरस ब्लैक सब्सटेंस. What is known as black gold? This is our last question for our today's video. That is related with our chapter number 5 for class 8, and the name of the chapter is coal and petroleum, and this is our last question, that is question number 11 from part C, and your question number 11 is what is known as black gold. So beta petroleum is known as black gold. So here beta we complete important most expected questions that related with your science subject, and the name of the chapter is coal and petroleum, and this chapter is divided into 3 parts, part A, part B and part C. Part A is related with your MCQ questions or objective questions. Part B is related with your fill in the blanks and true or false, and part C is related with your very short answer type questions. So here beta we complete the most important expected questions related with this chapter. So this is all about this our today's video. So once again, good night to all the students.